Good evening and welcome to Gunner Shot. As I had promised to you earlier, today we're going to understand the India-China border, and I'll put across a few issues to you. And in fact, I'll not put across a few issues to you. I'll put across most of the issues to you. I mean, we all need to understand what we are heading in. But let me clarify a few issues before. Jeet says, thank you for the presentation. I feel the title topic is very important in view of the China-India thought. Let me put this absolutely bluntly to Jeet and for everyone. Let's not have any doubts. There's no thaw. There's no thaw in the relationship. We only started speaking. Let's be fundamentally clear what we are up to. And when you finish this, you'll understand that nothing has changed between India and China, that we have to go ahead on anything. Right. This topic is huge. Right. What I'll do today is I'll cover the major aspects of the border to the extent I can. I'll cover the border, the implications of the border, the Chinese views of the border, and is there a thaw or not? I'll talk tomorrow broadly so that you have enough time for questions, and we'll do it tomorrow. This has to be on 2 days. Though I have the complete presentation with me, I will not stretch because it will take you some time to understand. So all those of you who are attending today, come back tomorrow evening. We're going to continue this topic because I think this is too important a topic which we need to hang on to and get it into our beja. So let's get going. No frills. Let's get this balance sheet in picture. What is the Chinese balance sheet with India? Because you have to understand the border is connected to the balance sheet. We've had problems with China in 62, military problems 67, 84, 2017, 2020 and 22. There is a case of Pakistan ke saath nuclear proliferation. China is trying to get into Sri Lanka, Bangladesh and Myanmar. They are also getting big time into Nepal. Yesterday, Nepal banned YouTube, X, Facebook and all at China's behest. That's why I said that thaw is a dangerous term to be used. Then they're claiming Arunachal Pradesh. They want Tibet. Then the Dalai Lama, they want to nominate their own. They've occupied Aksai Chin. They're building a dam. They're assisting Maoism and Naxalism in India whenever the opportunity is there. They are heavily involved in Naga insurgency. They want us to adopt one China policy. And they are blocking our entry as into the NSG, and they are ensuring that we don't become the permanent member of the UN Security Council. So this is the balance sheet. So where's the thaw? Have they touched an inch on any of these core issues? I'm not talking about the border so far. Look, as far as the border is concerned, Aksai Chin is a major issue. Tawang is a major issue. The Medoc Dam is a major issue. Okay, these are current and live. And then China's entry into CPEC through POK and the Daimar Basha Dam which they are making is an issue. Then the illegal ceding of Sakgam Valley by Pakistan to China is a major issue. This is our land. Okay. And then they have stoked a fire with Nepal in Limpiodara. We'll talk of it. And in Doklam with Bhutan. And in Sakteng in Bhutan. I'll explain this to you. So these are the border issues. When you say China-India border, all these come in. And then, of course, Nepal, their presence in Nepal, Bangladesh, and the CMEC impinges on our border or border-related issues. So all these stories are there. Okay. Now, what are the constants of India-China relationship? You'll be surprised. There are a lot of old slides which I took out today, and all of them are as relevant because nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. So, what are the constants of the India-China relationship? And mind you, these are constants as they see it, not what I see. Okay? This is not my thinking. This is the Chinese thinking. Because you have to understand what they are thinking for you to act. This is my way of doing things. I look at the enemy. As per them, the balance of power is between China, Soviet Union, and United States or Russia. India is the wild card to be kept in check. This is their historical thinking. You think they've changed that? They're going to keep you in check. China is the dominant power in Asia without equal. India has never been seen as an independent power, but always an appendage of great powers. Now also they feel we are an appendage of USA. They view us as unequal and untrustworthy. Pakistan is a strategic ally to keep India in check in South Asia. India has never been seen as a standalone threat. This threat comes packaged with USA and others. Hence, India must be neutralized through persuasion or coercion from time to time and be kept in check. This is constant. There's no change in this. Trade or no trade. And we have to understand whatever you do with China is political. Okay? Everything is political. Okay. Now this, like I said, here, this is a Chinese map, so borders are wrong. Tibet, China, India. You'll see most of the rivers which irrigate our land flow from Tibet. Whether it's the Satluj or the Indus or the Ganga, okay, or its tributaries or the Brahmaputra. So this border is very important for them. And of course, not to mention those major rivers which go into Yunnan, that is the Hawaii, Huangwei and Yangtze Kiang. Then those which go into the south in Southeast Asia, that is Mekong and Irrawaddy and Salween. These are all emanating from Tibet. So Tibet security is important. If Tibet security is important, border is important. And it is inviolable. It's a matter of sovereignty and territorial integrity for them. They'll never give it up. Let's understand the border now. The border has 4 parts. Okay, border has 4 parts. Let me go over it one by one. This is the Arunachal border. This is the Sikkim border. This is the Uttarakhand or central sector. And this is the Ladakh border. So there are 4 border parts of the Indo-China border, India-China border. Now normally this is called these 2 are called the eastern sector. This is the middle sector or the central sector, and this is the western sector. Now let's take each of these sectors and dissect them in detail so that you have an understanding of the whole place. Right. Now, if you see in the eastern sector, the vulnerabilities which they are aiming, one is that in the Chumbi Valley, this is the Chumbi Valley. That is the thing. With the aim to get to the Siliguri corridor. The moment you get to the Siliguri corridor, you cut off Northeast India. Vulnerability. They are always aiming for that. And then they are looking at Tawang. Right? Because they get Tawang. Tawang is one of the places where one of the Dalai Lamas was born. And hence it is meant to be Tibetan. And this is the Wolong axis. The Wolong axis is very important for the simple reason the complete Wolong axis is in low altitude. and it gives you a direct access into the plains of Assam. This is China. You get into this thing past Parashuram Kund, you open into the plains of Assam. In any case, this whole route along the Lohit River is all in low altitude. Okay. So these are the three major points for China in this area. And then, of course, there's this dam which is going to come up in this area. We'll talk of it a little later. Okay. Right. And there's the dam in this area, Medoc Dam. Now, please understand the border dynamics. China has completely been shifting its goalposts. Okay, in 1962, it occupied Aksai Chin and other areas by force. Thereafter, after 1962, there have been LAC disputes and intrusions constantly. Most important being the Sumdrongcho incident in 1986. After 2003, it is only after 2003 that they started claiming South Tibet, Arunachal Pradesh as South Tibet. Till then, there is no, this is something I'm prepared to take a bet. Show me one document, international document, before 2003, which talks of South Tibet. I'll take a bet. I'll give a bottle of scotch. International document, not Chinese. Not doctored by Chinese. Okay? Please understand that. Post 2020, they've changed the status quo on the LAC in eastern Ladakh. Today we are talking of this. We should be talking of this. Okay? Just understand this whole story. The goalposts have shifted. They are not prepared to talk of this. They are only prepared to talk of this. So I'll start with the Simla Convention, 1914. What was the Simla Convention all about? It was firstly between Great Britain, China, and Tibet, Imperial China and Tibet. The convention was to decide the boundary between Tibet and China, not between Tibet and India. Because at that point of time, there was no question of Tibet. Tibet was to be part of the British Empire only. It was not different. And the Tibet-India border was never under dispute. The boundary between Tibet and India was based on the McMahon Line. It was not discussed seriously. It was not even objected to in this convention. When that chap signed, Ivan Chen, who was a Chinese representative, he signed on the thing, but he ran away that night. In some places he signed, but he ran away. And next day in the main document, there was no signature. Why he ran away was because he couldn't accept the boundary between Tibet and China, not the one between Tibet and India. That was not his problem. Okay. The McMahon Line as it exists today was never disputed. Till China disputed it later. Even after 62, though they didn't accept the McMahon Line once Mao came into power. They repudiated it. But they have generally stuck to it. Generally, not always. When it chose, they stuck to it. Incidentally, they settled the Myanmar border based on the McMahon Line. They rejected the McMahon Line with India, but agreed with Myanmar. The western border, when I say western border, the central and the western border was never discussed. There was no discussion only. They were quite vague. Now we'll talk sector by sector. We'll talk about the McMahon line. The McMahon line starts at the tri-junction between India, China, and Myanmar, and comes to the tri-junction at Bhutan, China, Tibet, and India. This is Tibet. Here it is China. Uh, Get the difference. Okay. Now there are places like here they have said in red where there are intrusions. I'll not go into it in detail. Suffice to say there are intrusions at various places. I'm not right. Now this is the thing which you have to understand. Now this is the line which has come. See this. This was Lohit River. Lohit River starts from other side of from Yunnan basically or Tibet, the tail end of Tibet, and flows in, and somewhere and joins the Brahmaputra at a place called Parshuram. Similarly, Brahmaputra or Sangpo comes like this, ends round and comes and joins. At Pasighat, it joins Brahmaputra. These are the two main tributaries of Brahmaputra. Now, this is the McMahon line from the tri-junction with Myanmar to the tri-junction with Bhutan. Okay. And this is the border between China, Tibet, and Myanmar. And this is based on the McMahon line. The McMahon line goes further. McMahon line defines the boundary between Myanmar and China. Now, in this part, largely Arunachal Pradesh, militarily, you ask anyone, there are two sectors. One is the Kameng sector, which is Kameng sector is Kameng district. And it's all part of Tawang. I'll go out. See, this is Tawang. Sorry, this is Tawang, and this is Bhutan, and this is Tibet. Tawang is in Arunachal Pradesh. So this is one major valley. Okay. And this is called RALP. RALP is rest of Arunachal Pradesh. This entire area is called rest of Arunachal Pradesh. And this area is called fishtail area because this border here looks like a fishtail. Okay. Now, this fishtail area, there's hardly any inhabitation and the soil is very poor. Even if there are very few roads, even if you take a vehicle there, it can just collapse. You can't make roads, nothing. It's quite inaccessible. And hence, this fishtail area is not even demarcated. In many places, you can't reach this border. Whether you call it a border, LAC, whatever it is, no one stays there. That's why you'll find sometimes we find reports coming, oh, the Chinese have intruded here. Equally, they must also be giving reports that the Indians have intruded here in this area. Lot of rains, soft subsoil, you can't stay there. Virtually uninhabited. Lot of jungles, altitudes, mixture of everything. RALP is all segregated valleys. I'll explain that to you a little later. Kameng is a broad valley, not a broad valley. It leads into the main Sela Ridge and onto the watershed. Okay. Now the next thing is, this complete border is in high altitude. Even this is in high altitude, but there are huge areas where there is no way to get across Himalayas. You can do mountaineering expeditions across, but you can't get across. Especially from between Kamang sector and Taksing, which is the next valley. Completely impassable mountains. 6,000 plus. Okay. I've been there, incidentally. I've had the pleasure of going there when I was young. It's a fabulous area. The a mountaineer's dream. Okay, if you're trekking and all that, it's a dream. I didn't go there for a trek. I went for patrolling, but I fell in love with that place. A lot of hot springs. You know, you can find so many hot springs. You know, want to have a hot water bath? Just find a hot spring and have a hot water bath. Sulfur springs. Anyway, that's a different story. Okay, so huge. So RALP is 8 to 10 times the Kameng sector. But the most important sector is the Kameng sector here. Why Kameng sector is important? Because of Tawang and its proximity to Lhasa. Dalai Lama came through a place called Kenzamane in the Kameng sector to India. Kenzamane has a pass. It's a low altitude pass where the water, there's a stream called Namkachu, which is between the Tagla Ridge and the Hatungla Ridge, and it joins into a stream called the Nyamjangchu. The Namjangchu comes from Tibet and gets into India. His Holiness came there. Okay. So, the interesting part of this area is most of the areas we are holding the heights. But there are some places in RALP where we are nowhere near the LAC. You can't go near the LAC. The valleys are narrow. You can't even even there the subsoil is very weak. At places you are as far as 8 to 10 kilometers away from the LAC. Even those guys can't come here. It's almost a no-go area. In some places, like Bisa and Maja and all that Longju, they have come in to give depth to their thing. Interestingly, this place called Lingchi is just 30 kilometers away from the LAC. The Medoc Dam, behind that is Ningchi. So they are vulnerable here if you do something funny. It's not as if you can't do. But I'll not talk of it now. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the Brahmaputra. Because if you don't understand the Brahmaputra, then you don't understand many things. The Brahmaputra comes like this, and there's a dam called Zangmu on the other side, turns around and follows him. So look, this is where it starts. Yeah, this is Brahmaputra at its start point. Piche tumhara Kailash. Then as it keeps coming, it starts widening. Then, this is Namcha Barwa, which is the highest peak in the east. It is somewhere here. Okay, it's somewhere here in the Big Bend. Then it goes around the Big Bend and then follows into Arunachal Pradesh. It is known as Siang in this area. And then it goes into past Pasighat. It spreads out. At that place, Brahmaputra looks like a sea. And then, of course, this is Saraigat near Guwahati. And it thereafter goes into Bangladesh and enters the thing. Now, if you look at it, this is the thing. See, this is a trans-Himalayan region. You see the watershed. Water here flows this side, water here, that side. On the other side, it goes. It goes to the north. Approximately, this is a line diagram to make you understand. And along this watershed is the LAC. And a few places, like I said, this area, they have incurst. Now, the Brahmaputra gets a lot of tributaries. The main one are Subansuri, Siom, Siang, Dau, Dilai, and Lohit. It's called 3S3DL. Subansuri, Siom, Siang being the main course, Dau, Dilai, Dibang, and Lohit. Okay, so that is the McMahon Line, right? Which has never been accepted. Now let's look at the Sikkim part. So this is the Sikkim border. Okay, Sikkim border. This is Sikkim. And this is the McMahon Line. And in between is Bhutan border. Bhutan has a border with China. Okay. Now the thing is, okay, we'll go ahead. Let's now see these new things which have come. This is an area which Chinese have occupied. It's called Jakarlung and Pasarlung. This is Doklam area where they have expanded. And this is an area called Sakteng, which they have claimed. This is important to understand. This map gives you quite a good clarity. See, the Chinese can come. This is, of course, Siliguri corridor. The Chinese can come through the Chumbi Valley and come here. But the problem with this coming here is this is just about here, it's about 5-6 kilometers only. Maximum width is 50 kilometers here. And there's only one road coming into Chumbi Valley. Okay. Either side of Chumbi Valley, there's a huge ridge lines, 15,000 feet. The base of Chumbi Valley is just about 7,000, 8,000 feet. So virtually those people have to come in single file. You can't deploy too much here. So when people say they'll come into Chumbi Valley and come to this area, they are fools. They don't know what they're talking. You are commanding this side, and we have plans to go and take over this area also. But in the meanwhile, they've expanded here. Their main aim is this. They've occupied this. Okay. And they want to, initially they said we'll occupy this and we'll give up this area if you give us this area. But Bhutan so far has not given anything. And then in 2020, they claimed this area called Sakteng. They said this is also ours. Now the deal they're offering is we'll give up our claim on Sakteng, you give us this and we'll give you this. They're pressurizing Bhutan. So we have to hold Bhutan's hand. Now, why is Sakteng important? Look at this. There's a road from Tezpur which goes into right up to Tawang and beyond, main road. And this is the border with Bhutan. This is Bhutan. This is Arunachal Pradesh. If they come and sit at Sakteng, then they can threaten this road. In fact, at one place, you can just walk across and cut this road off. I mean, it's easier said than done. We've done a lot of things for that. But that is the evil design of Chinese. We should understand all this. Okay? Right. And this, of course, Tawang. I just thought I'll show you this. So you understand what their claim is. Their claim is very clear. How to get behind Tawang so that they can put pressure from here, put pressure from here, put pressure from all sides so that Tawang falls. And then expand here so that they can get into this area. Now the thing here is the interesting part. Northern Bhutan, this complete area is glaciated. There are no roads. There's no connectivity between Eastern Bhutan and Western Bhutan. Now they're trying something, but I don't know how far they have succeeded. Even if they succeeded, there'll be one single road, marginal road. Not a great deal. Right? So, this is all completely high mountains, snow. So, they can only come through this side or this side. There's no way they can build roads directly. And there's this, they can come down here to a place called Sandro Jonkar, which is on the Assam border. Right? And there's a place called Tashigong. From here they get in. From here they can get in. There's a place called Tashigong Zong. From Tashigong Zong, that's a road head. Beyond that, there are no roads in Bhutan also. And they have to come down to a place called Samdro Jonkar, which is Assam. So they have only two routes of access through Bhutan. That's it. Okay. And of course, we are in control of the situation. There's nothing to worry. And this, of course, is the Sikkim border. So we'll talk of the Sikkim border now. Now, this is Sikkim. This is the Sikkim border. Okay. Now, if I give you the roads, see, these are the roads within Sikkim. From, down below, Sevak, Siliguri, it comes up to a place called Rangpo. From Rangpo, a road goes to Gangtok. From there, one goes to North Sikkim. And from this place called Rangpo, there's one which goes to a place called Chola. The three passes on this ridge line. This is a ridge line of all through about, here it's in the northern area, it is at about 16,000 feet. Here it's about 14,000 feet. Natula itself is at 14,000 feet. Chola, Natula. This is the thing. So the Chinese, if they have to come this side, they have to come all the way in and get in. And you can keep screwing them in this area. So it's not so easy for Chinese to get in here, like people say. I've been to this area. In fact, I was a commanding officer before Op Vijay in this area only. Okay, I know this area very well, incidentally. Now, the interesting part of this northern Sikkim is North Sikkim is this belt where where this North Sikkim is there beyond that, yeah, where this red road is ending. There's a place called Kanchangyao. That's a peak which is absolutely on the LAC. Now, this is the only area where the Tibetan plateau comes into India, into Sikkim. Here you're part of the Tibetan plateau. And when you go here into this area, it's super high altitude. When you go here, you can see miles together in depth. You can see at least 100, 200 kilometers in depth. Flat ground almost. Of course, there are folds, but you can see. Moment you go 5 kilometers down, the road starts going down on our side. You can't see anything. Jungles and all that. Narrow valleys. And when you reach here, you're north of Kanchenjunga. This is Kanchenjunga. You're north of Kanchenjunga. An interesting fact which not many people know. This border is 220 kilometers. I'm calling this a border. It's a Sikkim-Tibet border. And this border was demarcated between when Sikkim was an independent kingdom and Tibet. When? In 1895, as per the Anglo-Chinese Convention of 1890. More than a century and a half back. Okay? So this is not a contentious border. This is not the LAC, really speaking. After we've inherited this is the funny part. After we've inherited that border, which is a demarcated border, you can see canes out there. Right? And you then, it's a demarcated border. You see canes, that's what I said. After we inherited this from Sikkim and Sikkim became a state, this has become, what shall I say, a LAC. Before that, it was not a LAC, it was a border. But the status is this. Now, when people talk of early harvest, in this thing also it came out last month when Vangi and Jaishankar met. And Vangi and Dowell met, they said, oh, we'll do the border settlement, demarcation, and we'll look at early harvest. In that, they are looking at this. They want to settle the Sikkim border as a border because it's already demarcated. But there are some dangers in this. And that danger is that this Gamochen or Jipmochi, as it is called in China, and Gamochen, which we call it, is a towering feature. Okay, right. Now let me show this again. Yeah. In this bottom, there's this feature called Gamochen. Right now, we are in occupation of that Gamochen. There is no way we can give, because you sit at Gamochen, you can see the entire Yatung Valley. Yours truly had the pleasure. I must tell you this. I had the pleasure of sitting there for 2 months when as an OP officer, as a second lieutenant. And every day counting cabbage trucks which used to come to feed the PLA. Now I'm going back to 78, 79. Not 78, 79. Not 79, 80, I think. Yeah, 80. 80 it was. So I've had that pleasure. And that desolate place, it used to take 8 hours to 10 hours of just climbing on a 4x4. You had to put yourself into 4x4 and climb. A complete anti-gravity system, and you start climbing. And those were the days you had to put everything on your back and walk up. One became tough mentally. Okay, so that's the central the Sikkim sector. Okay, so let us see whether Chola Natula is with us. Chola is with the Chinese. Why? Because at that point of time, the GOC who was holding on to Natula disobeyed orders. They said, I'm not giving up. There were orders given by the Army Higher Command and the political people at that point of time to give up Natula and Chola. But General Sagat Singh didn't give up Natula. But the other guy gave up, who was in charge of Chola, gave up on Chola. So we came back one this thing. There's a place called Sebula, which we occupied, and a place called Saragadi. You can see the Chinese soldiers across. We occupied that. It's not a great loss because you still hold on to the past in some manner. But those are the times. Natula is completely with us. Maybe some other day I'll show you my pictures. I've even taken my family there. Today you can all go on a trip to Natula. There's no problem. You can even go to North Sikkim. Go there. There's a place called Guru Dongmar Lake. Guru Dongmar Lake is completely in super high altitude. It is reputed that the story is that Guru Gobind went there. Guru Nanak, not Guru Gobind. Guru Nanak went there in his travels. And at one point, he put his finger in that lake. This is the folklore there, not in Khalistan dominated areas. I'm talking of there. And in that area where he put his finger, the water never freezes. And you can go there. I've been there. That's why I'm talking. Right? And something. There are certain things in India which are beyond the normal. ये वेस्टर्नर्स को क्या पता चलता है, सेमीकंडक्टर चिप्स लेके घूमते रहते हैं बेवकूफ आदमी. हमारा जो स्पिरिचुअल स्ट्रेंथ है समथिंग है. Our religions, all our religions have given us strength, that inner strength. Oana, have you guys seen that thing, Kung Fu Panda? I suggest you chaps see Kung Fu Panda. He says inner peace. Inner peace. Indians have inner peace. ठीक है, हमें ये मोह नहीं है कि पैसा लो लूटो किसी को. ये वो इनर पीस है, स्ट्रेंथ है, मजबूत है, दिमाग से मजबूत है. I hope I'm not giving you a moral lecture, but this is something which naturally comes out. So this is a beautiful area, and this is one place where you cross Kanchenjunga. Kanchenjunga is to the south. And as you grow up this road, you see Kanchenjunga from one side and you go and you see it from behind. I've had the pleasure of seeing that. These are things, this is the richness which I got thanks to being in the army. Otherwise, when people go and see Shanghai, Pungai and all that, I've seen it from, some completely different viewpoint. And not only here, I've seen it in Dichu, or that is Kibitu. I've seen it here. I've seen it in, across Tawang or Bumla. I've been to the tri-junction between Bhutan, China and India, or Tibet and India. I've been to this Kali River, Lipu Lake Pass. I've been to Demchok, where Indus enters India. And I've been, of course, to the Galwan area. Those days, we couldn't reach Galwan because it was only a track, but the book showed access. I'm talking of long back. Been to SSN. Okay. So, life has given hell of a lot. Okay. Why am I talking all this nonsense? So, I've now so far described to you the Arunachal border and the Sikkim border. Okay. And like I said, the Arunachal border is very important for us to understand. The concept of South Tibet came in only after 2003. Till 2003, we did not recognize Tibet as part of China. It was this MOU between, the government then, Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government and the Chinese government under, I think, the Hu Jintao. Not Hu Jintao, Jiang Zemin. Hu Jintao came in 2005. Jiang Zemin was there till 2003. 2003, this MOU took place. And it was only after that we started recognizing Tibet as part of China, and they started recognizing China as part of India. At that time, Arunachal was not under dispute. That's the beauty. Arunachal was not under dispute. It was after 2003 that these buggers started writing articles and started in everything. And then they slowly started talking of South Tibet. Till then, it was not under contention. I have read so many books on this area when I was posted there and otherwise. The first time I started hearing about South Tibet myself was somewhere around 2008-9. Till then, I never saw, I had never heard. Of course, in between, I was out on certain, postings where I was in the Pakistan border. So one didn't read so much about this border. I was reading about that area. So when I got back into this area, and then I suddenly realized, what is the South Tibet? So South Tibet is a later they construct. Okay, now we'll go to the Western sector. Okay, completely. Now the Western sector, right, here if you can see, this is Mansarovar Lake. Sorry, this is Mansarovar Lake. This is the road which goes from across the complete. This is Nepal, this is India, this is Uttarakhand, okay, and this is Himachal Pradesh, and this of course is Ladakh, and this is Tibet. This road comes from Lhasa, goes right through, and then it goes through Aksai Chin and into Kashgar, Xinjiang. Okay, I don't know how many of you have seen Xinjiang. I've seen Xinjiang from KK Pass, Karakoram Pass. Right. Now, this is Mansarovar Lake. From Mansarovar Lake, Indus goes to the north, enters India at Demchok, and continues and goes past Ladakh, and then continues and goes into, Pakistan, or rather Pakistan occupied Kashmir at a place called Batalik. But I've shown you this just to give you an idea. Now here is this sector. This is up till here it is the central sector. This is the western sector. So we'll understand both these. Okay. We'll first talk of the central sector. It is known. Now the central sector starts at the tri-junction of Nepal, India and Tibet. It's here. And it's at a place called Lipulek Pass. The Lipulek Pass virtually is the tri-junction. A little further is the tri-junction. And it goes to here at a place called Mount Gya. After that, it is the western sector. Or Gya Peak. It's not there, but we'll understand. Now, there are major issues in this. Now, this is, of course, Mansarovar. And there are three, this is the LAC here. Now, here, the central sector is all very sharp and height. There are a lot of heights. This is Nanda Devi, this is Gangotri, Yamunotri, ये सब पूरा Badrinath, Kedarnath, all this belt. Absolutely impossible areas except through passes. And which are the passes here? The main passes are Shipkila. Shipkila is to the north. And this is where trade is to take place now. And then Mana. Mana, there's no trade. It's manned. Okay. Joshimath ke aage chalte hain Mana. And then you get to Lipulek Pass. Now Lipulek Pass is under contention. Contention with whom? With Nepal. See this river which I put here. There's one blue line. ये देखो. इधर देखो. Line. ये line है ना. ये this is a place. No, I'm sorry. If those of you not been able to see it, I'll go again. I'll show the big one. Okay. See, this is the LAC. Right? These are the main passes. This is Mansarovar Lake. And from Mansarovar Lake, the Indus goes like this, straight. This is that highway which I showed earlier. This is Lipulek Pass. And this, which I showed here, this is called Kali Nadi. Now, the Kali Nadi is the demarcation between Nepal and India, or rather Uttarakhand. Now the thing is, as Kali Nadi goes here, it splits into 2-3, it goes up the mountains into 2-3 streams, upstreams. Now, as per Nepal, the Kali Nadi flows from somewhere here, and this is the start of Kali Nadi. We say it is from here. And for a long time, Nepalese didn't bother about where this river starts or not. 2020, at the behest of the Chinese, they said, no, Kali Nadi starts from here. Okay. They said Kali Nadi starts from here. from a place called Limpudara and say that Limpudara tak hamara hai. If Limpudara tak it is part of Nepal, then Shipkila is also part of us, and that Chinese supported them. Okay. Now what has happened because of this little thaw which has happened, and now trade is to go through Shipkila. We have built a road to Shipkila. A road goes up to Shipkila, and this is a road which is followed to Mansarovar. From Shipkila, you go directly down, little way down, and you start getting taxis to go to Mansarovar. Because when I went there to Shipkila, we had to do this walk. Okay. We had to go. We had to send people ahead, stock in places, in huts and all, in villages, and then go live there, go ahead. It was a big exercise to go up ahead. And ponies and things like that we used to go. Now, of course, roads go. And people used to trek to Mansarovar those days. So, right. So now Nepal is cutty with China and India because of this. Mana Pass is manned. Joshimath ke aage, it's the main thing. Chinese and us, we manned. And Shipkila. Now, both sides, it is steep. And virtually the LAC is defined, the watershed. So there's not much problem here. But the Chinese are worried here in this place. The Chinese are worried because if you get through any of these passes, the next stop is this road, which can get cut off. If this gets cut off and you take over Mansarovar, they are worried. So that's the thing which you have to understand. Okay, now let's jump ahead further to Eastern Ladakh, or rather Western Ladakh. No, I've got confused. Eastern Ladakh. This is Eastern Ladakh. Western Ladakh is here. Western Ladakh is with Pakis. Okay. Now, same road here. Now, yeah, this is the same thing. Okay. Now, I've got the same thing again to give you an idea. This is the LAC, or rather, this is the border, this line. This is that road which goes through Aksai Chin. This is the Indus River which starts from Mansarovar and goes. Now here, I'll go to those lines, Johnson line, McCartney line and all that, so that you understand. अभी बड़ा बनाता हूँ इसको. Okay, this is a map. It's a constructed map, but I'll tell you the whole thing. Don't worry. Now, there's a line called the Johnson line. The Johnson line is officially taken by India as the Sino-Indian border. This is the Johnson line, which I've now shown. Okay. Now, the funny part is, there's a line called the McCartney-McDonald line. Till 1959, this was considered as the border. How foolish we were. We never even patrolled this area. We felt this is our border. This is the one. See, this is the one across the Ladakh range. We never had any posts here. We had only here. We had one at Kiziljalga, which was run over very fast. Okay, we were just shoot away. Police post at Kiziljalga. That was the farthest. We didn't have anything here. Nagari, which today is a major base of theirs, is actually in our area. Now, in between, the British Foreign Office said no. Of 1873, they said this is the Foreign Office line. They didn't. They said so. There are 3-4 lines here. No one knew which is the right line, and we inherited it. We never bothered about it till 1962. Ka 47, Ka 62. That was a level. Well, look, I'll not blame those people because they had their own compulsions. This was India which was consolidating. We were getting hold of princely states, this, that, all that. Okay. Right? Okay. Now, this is the Xinjiang Tibet Road, which Mao started constructing early 50s. This. Through Aksai Chin. And we came to know of it much later. When we came to know, we woke up. By then it was too late. They wouldn't have given up on this. And this black line is the approximate line of the Chinese claim line, and this is also approximate line of the LAC today. See, that's the point. What I said, we are fighting about this or discussing this. Actually, we should be discussing this, or at least this or this or this. But we're discussing the worst case scenario. So, what is this border TAW which we've had with Chinese? Zero. Okay, zero. And you have to understand, the concept of why this area is important for them, that road is important for them. This is Xinjiang and this is Tibet. Okay. See, this is Pamir Knot. From Pamir Knot, there are a few ranges which come out. One is Hindu Kush. Okay. Then is the Altai Tag. Down south is the Himalayas. Then the Karakorams. Then the Kunlun. The area between Kunlun and the Himalayas is Tibet. The area north of Kunlun and Tien Shan. The area north of Kunlun and Tien Shan is Xinjiang. And between Kunlun and between Kunlun and Tien Shan, between Kunlun and Tien Shan is a thing called Altin Tag. This is Altai Tag. This is Altin Tag. Different. It's a link mountain. This is Xinjiang. And Xinjiang is that Gobi Desert. Tarim Basin Gobi Desert. It's a desert, hot. Again, I had the pleasure of going. This is Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan has a border with Xinjiang. And that border is Tien Shan. So when you go to a place called Almaty, you actually can go up to Tien Shan. Almaty sits in the lap of Tien Shan. So I've been to Tien Shan. Nice place. Okay. That's the other side of China. And there's a canyon out there. Something like the Grand Canyon on USA. In fact, it's bigger than the Grand Canyon. That's almost on the Chinese border. Okay, we went and spent a day there, picnic in Kazakhstan. Well, that's a different story. So this area is, the thing is, this is China behind. So if you have to come and get hold of Xinjiang, you have to come from behind. And this is Tibet. To rule Tibet, you have to come from here. There's nothing from here to here. It was not there. And that road which they constructed is important so that it gives a connection like this. See, this is Aksai Chin. And through Aksai Chin, you get a connection from Xinjiang and vice versa. That is why they'll never give it up. You have to wait a long time unless you become very strong militarily, economically, and they decline, nothing, they'll not give it. Let's be very clear. People keep saying, when are we going to take on this thing? भैया 80 साल से नहीं हुआ तो और 80 साल वेट करो आप, ठीक है? We should be clear or be prepared to fight. Okay. So this is the importance of this Aksai Chin. They'll never give it up. That road is a lifeline for them to cover. If that road is not there, they're done. Okay. Yeah. Now I'll get to this. See, this is the area. This is Xinjiang. This is Tibet. This is Aksai Chin. This is POK. This is Shaksgam Valley. Okay. This red part is Afghanistan. This is Tajikistan. This is Kyrgyzstan. And this is Kazakhstan. Xinjiang has a border with Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, the way Chinese look at it, and India. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nations border. It's very important for them to control this area. And this is at the farthest away from China. This is the westernmost tip of China. To control this area, they need Tibet. Again, to control Tibet, they need Xinjiang. And the easiest access to this Aksai Chin is not via Lhasa. It is from Xinjiang. So this road is very important. Okay. And what did you do when we did that? We took abrogated Article 370. We abrogated Article 370 with respect to this, but you also claimed all this. In the process, you also built this DSB road. This is Darbuk Shog, Daulat Beg Oldie Road. That road you built from here to here. What does that do? It gives you a access into Xinjiang. Then they're very worried. That is why the reaction at Galwan, Shalwan, and all that nonsense. They're so worried about this road, you cannot believe. Because if you, right, and this road, DSDB road, goes via through Daulat Beg Goldie onto Karakoram Pass. Okay. The Karakoram Pass is in India. It's the border between India and China. It's not, the Karakoram Pass is not on the Karakoram Highway. That is between Pakistan and, yeah, there is a CPEC. The CPEC which goes, Now, the CPEC actually goes like this. Okay, through this place. Not through Shaks. This is the alternate route for this. This route which I've shown is the alternate route which they want to make through Shaksgam Valley. One day I'll talk about that again. But this is the main route of the Karakoram Pass, Karakoram Highway. And the Karakoram Highway goes through a pass called the Kunjarab Pass. So all this, they're worried. Now that India has got out of all this, if they have trouble in Xinjiang, they can't control it. And you stoke trouble in Xinjiang, their CPC Mark II is under problem. But anyway, CPC itself is in a problem. That's a different story. Okay. So, yeah. Now, what I'll not do today is I'm not going to talk any more about all this today. We'll talk of it tomorrow. So, I've given you an idea today. We'll talk of the, the fundamental problems of China, the Chinese views on the border, what their perceptions are, all that. Plus, what does storm mean? What does the storm mean? We'll talk of it tomorrow. I do hope all of you will come back and get your friends also. Okay. And get your friends after they've seen this. Anyone who wants to understand what I'm talking. So I hope you guys have understood all this. We'll take some questions. Okay. And then we'll see how to go ahead. Okay. Yeah, why is Aksai Chin important for India? It's your territory. You can deny them. The moment you get hold of Aksai Chin, China can say bye-bye. Please understand. Right, let's go from here. Oh, yeah, Shaker, hello. Uniman says, I like your analysis. Thanks a lot. Jai Hind, Akash. In the aftermath of Op Sindur to our west and precision drone action to our east, is the enemy to the north aware that he's... Yeah, he knows. He's very clear. He's worried. He's very worried. Okay. Sundar Krishna, good evening. Ladybird Haru, good evening. Hans Gio, good evening. And Kiran also, good evening. Ananta Venkatesan, sir, hope you are well. Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I have no problem at all. So, and namaste. I told you, this subject I know like the back of my hand. I can keep talking another 3 days on this, but for me to put this in a cogent manner took me time. Okay. India can gain more in terms of economic gains through collaboration with China and confrontation. Don't talk like a, mutt. Okay, gutsy. I'm sorry I've used this word, but you shouldn't talk like a mutt. You should understand the complexity of dealing with China. You can't deal with China. They'll eat you up for breakfast. Okay? You heard what all I told you. So after this also, if you're going to ask such questions, and one more thing, I'd request most of you, wait till at least halfway through my presentation before you give an opinion or ask questions. Otherwise, some of your questions invariably I've answered, or your questions are completely out of tune with my presentation. Yeah, looking forward. Thanks a lot, Ashok. Uh, yeah, Shritik, good evening. Then Yashwant also, good evening. Yeah, sir, we have no China. See, you shouldn't make such stupid statements, Sri Narayan. Do you think the government of India is foolish to say that they don't have a policy and that wherever you are, you've been kept safe away from China? So don't denigrate our government. They're doing a hard job. They might make mistakes. Please understand, okay? The tractor, cashew, and mineral agreement with Burkina Faso will take India into Central Asia. And yeah, that's later. We'll talk of it. Mm. Good evening and Jai Hind. Uh, yeah, even a millennium ago, Chinese map showed the areas outside of Tibet are savage lands. Yeah, I agree with you. Communist lobby in our country think China is in some way good for us. It's not good for us at all. There's no doubt in my mind. Rohan, good morning. सुरेंद्र कुमार प्लीज स्पीक इन हिंदी इन भारत. यार तुम कौन से यहाँ 30 मार कहाँ चल पड़े? Who are you, yeah, to say in Bharat you should speak only in Hindi? You are giving me a edict. You can request me. You can't give me an order. Okay, I will not speak because of you. I'll not speak in Hindi. Though I keep speak, I make the effort of speaking in Hindi when I speak in alternate media and I speak with in Jaipur dialogues. But don't force your story on us. I don't like it. India is India, Bharat is Bharat, both are the same for me. ठीक है? Yeah, where would the operational pivot to unravel northwards in case of war? There's no one single place which is an operational pivot. Every area is sectorally different. Where we do what we do, it depends on what you have to do at that point of time. Yeah, this is a very interesting history lesson. Yes, I agree with you. Uh, yeah, very well. Very, very weird, sir. What's weird? Tell me. How much should we worry about PLA salami slicing method? There's no salami slicing left. The time has come when we can do salami slicing on them. Yeah, this is great knowledge for history and geopolitical nerds like us. Grateful. Thank you. Yeah. India must ensure there is no border with China. Tibet must as a buffer. Yeah, that's a long-term plan. Let's see whether we can get it. Hmm. Being to high altitude places, a VCRL experience, BRO has best signs. At Kardungla top written on the rock face, your adventure is our daily life routine. All it takes is change in altitude. Yeah. Kardungla was under my control when I was in Leh. Yeah. Yeah, Kailash, Galaxy. Heard there are some more than 60 glaciers that feeds the mighty Brahmaputra. More than that. Many more than that. The kind of people it takes deployed at those places that guard our borders is of a different composition. It's a tough terrain and life, no joke. Even the air is 40% lesser than. I had 4 tenures in high altitude, Ashok, and all of you. 4 tenures. Okay. Chumbi Valley has a lot of elephants. How do you know? You went there. I'm asking you seriously. I live among Chinese people, and these people cannot be trusted, whether communist or not. They are same. DNA same hai. Jai Hind sir, I agree with you completely. Very few citizens understand that what it takes for Bharat to exist free. Yeah. McMahon Line is now quite dated and mostly unreasonable. I don't think so. There's no Chakravartin line on the other side of Tibet and all that. Yeah, all this is, we shouldn't, you know, we shouldn't shoot in the air. McMahon line is the line on which we operate on. You have to start a line, but for that you need a narrative. We don't have that kind of thinking and narrative. Is there a possibility of Bhutan ever merging with India? Possible. This is one possibility. Had been to Nathula, sir, in beautiful place. You must have gone during daytime and summertime. You go there at night time and in winter and stay there about 10 days. Then you'll know. I mean, if you, it's not as if people don't. You might have. I'm not saying no, but that you'll see it's not a beautiful place. Please put similar content on India Pak and India Bangladesh issues as well. Let's see. Yeah, Namaskaram, General Garu. Missed a couple of your GS episodes. I appreciate how you keep politics out of your discussion, so we actually learn something substantial and not people's opinion. Yeah, I'm not interested in politics. I'm not going to talk about politics or religion. We are, except in the context of what we have to speak. Okay, religion, spirituality. If that's the topic, we'll speak on it, but not political aspects of religion or religion for the sake of religion to denigrate other religions. Not my DNA, not in the Indian Army. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your contribution. Is there a chance of demarcation? Let's see what happens, because they've taken some decision that the working committee will sit together and see where you'll get early harvest. In my way of thinking, the only early harvest you can get in the Sikkim border, where the border is already demarcated. But if that is the only thing which has to be done, I think it's a poor show. Then we have lost that thing and China has gained. We shouldn't do it. Okay. There's no early harvest. Early harvest is what China used in CPEC. Unfortunately, that wording has come in our joint declaration. Yeah, Akhand Bharat is not a territorial unified aim. It's more a political alignment like an organism. Yeah, in the brain. I agree with you. It's more religious kind of a thing. Yeah. Joining in from Gang Talk. Yeah, Index Centaur. Thanks a lot for joining there. Yeah. Spirituality is the one of the greatest strength of India. I agree with you. On that, I have no doubt. But that can't be your day-to-day staple, You have to use spirituality intelligently. Yeah, General P.R. Shifu. Well, what I know. What. Yeah. Kanchanjunga. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Only day you can take back all these land is the day you are not dependent on China for anything, period. Yeah, that's okay. Abhilash, Har Har Mahadev. Kankar, every state in India has a lot of spirituality advanced. Yeah, that's wrong with it. Nothing wrong with reminiscing in the past. Yeah, that's once in a while it comes to, I've been to so many places along the LAC, it comes naturally, to me. Highway of China number 522, that's okay. Do you foresee any temporary decrease in the internal interference by Chinese? No, I don't foresee anything. We have to keep tackling their nonsense. Communists, they'll never give up. Apparently, Russia has captured the lithium mine that Xi has promised Orange. Is that a game changer? We'll see. That is different. Good evening, sir. Good evening. How are you? Thanks a lot for attending. I hope you liked it. right? And I request all of you, if you like this, do press the like button. Okay. Yeah, absolute gem of a session. Watching with my son, the history with geography was never taught to me, not him. Yeah, that's okay. Thanks a ton. Right. Sanjay here has served as a diplomat for 30 plus years. Damn good. Before being diplomat, he was in armed forces. He knows a lot. Let his knowledge be with him, guys. We are merely then don't. It's okay. Everyone who knows is good. We should not this thing. Wherever the British air, they made a mess. Yes, I agree with you. Uh, I haven't heard this term Pamirnaut in decades. What a recall. Yeah, I mean, I've been there, incidentally. I've been to Pamirnaut. When you go to the northern part of Siachen, you're in the Pamirnaut. Okay. Yeah, Ananta Venkateshan, sir, fantastic session. Thank you. Uh, yeah, could there be a small battle between India and China in 10 years over Aksai Chin? I don't see it happening, to be very honest. Thanks a lot, Krishna, for gifting 5 memberships. But those who've been gifted, please continue with it. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Prabjot, you're late, but watch it from beginning. I think it'll be worth it. I'll continue tomorrow with this whole story. So people in India think that Indian Americans will start doing Dharna Pradarshan against Trump. Doesn't work. I agree with you. That's foolish, actually. To think that will happen is foolish. I don't also agree with that. Hmm. Yeah. This general is a fool. Sanjay, you are the bright guy. Yeah? You're the biggest idiot going around, so it's okay. Stellar presentation. Thank you. How much land have we lost to them after 2000? We've not lost nothing. We've lost nothing. Don't worry. No one in USA trusts China. Anytime Americans put a base anywhere, the Chinese enrollment in uh, nearby colleges increase 1000%. I agree. That they understand. Everyone understands. We should start taking Tibetan areas back once we are stronger. And you need to have a policy for that. Do we have a policy? Is the question. Okay. Should India start a counter narrative to China's remaining of renaming of Indian places? Definitely. For I don't know why we have not done it. Are your recommendations for expanding military diplomacy being considered? I hope so. I've given it to the highest possible level I know. Most of Brahmaputra watershed is in India. I agree. Uh, please explain one day about Siachen. Would love to hear it. I'll do that. No problems. Hmm. Yeah. Use of attack helicopters in terrains like Leh, is it feasible? Very minimal. Hardly anything. Mohan Kumar, thanks a lot for your compliment. Uh, yeah, I don't know what Nehru and team saw. I've traveled 3, 4 times to China and takes no more IQ than that of an ape to know that Chinese are sworn adversary. I agree with you completely. Sparkly spits, you're a bit late, but rewind. You'll enjoy it. So, can we say we are the guardians of Himalaya? Definitely. There's no doubt. We dominate the Himalayas. What do we trade through these passes, some small things will go up and down, not much can go. If we make buffer nations between India and China, is it a good idea to dodge China? Just a hypothetical. First, we have to have the guts to make that buffer nation. You have to have a narrative. Yeah, Lofi, good evening and catch up later. That's fine. Yeah, ask. What do you have to ask, Ashish? You're not got a question. Sir, please interact with Northeastern Tibetan activists. I do that. I'm in touch with them. Any Tibetan functions and all, I go and talk. You know, this gentleman called Claude RP and I are good friends. We keep talking. If good relations with China are possible, then we would seriously be able to solve the border issue. They're not interested. We'll talk of it tomorrow. Okay, we'll talk of it tomorrow. A naive question: after China getting weakened economically and politically, is it possible to fuel the Tibet issue? Yes, there it is. Will China plan offensive action in Ladakh? No, they won't. They're not fit for it at this point of time. I don't know what will happen later. Yeah, yeah. The person who dictates general to speak Hindi is not good. The general is aware. Yeah, I know what to speak. I do know Hindi. I know Telugu. I know Tamil. But I choose a language with a little bit of thought. Yeah, IORD. Are there any possibilities of Bharat and Nepal merging together? No way. No way. Very interesting. Thank you. What stand will be favorable for India in case China invade them? China won't invade us. Don't worry. Yeah, Chinese have infiltrated American society so deeply, we funny even know it. Media universities. Yes, I agree with you. That's the problem with America today. They don't know how deeply they have allowed these fellows to infiltrate them. Yeah, all those weapons that China showed on this parade day, I only want to know when and whom will they intend to use it, or will they ever use it? It is ये सिर्फ दिखाने के लिए. It's only for showing. They don't want to fight. Hmm. Okay, let's see if there are any new questions. Prakriti. Okay. I asked about Mansarovar having more historic mentions and devotional connections with Mansarovar. Does India have any strategy in this? No, we don't have. We don't have a strategy to retake Mansarovar, unfortunately. Is there a chance of signing a peace and friendship agreement with China? No way. How come Chinese thinking is very different from Tibet people? Because they're not the same. Yeah? China is Chinese people, Tibet is Tibetan people. Their thinking is completely different. Everything is different. And the Chinese people have subjugated the Tibetans. What risks do we have with China if not invasion? Look, if you show weakness, they'll come into your area. Be rest assured. You shouldn't be weak. They respect strength. Okay. So that's all I have for today. Tomorrow we'll talk a little about Pakistan and the garbage truck cleaning all the garbage in SCO. We'll do that in the morning. Evening, I'll continue the second part of China. Okay. Or rather the border and those issues. What is China's stance? We'll examine what is their historic stance and how does that translate to what it is today. How do you deal with them ultimately? The question is, I've explained to you today about the border. What are their ideas about the border? Deep ideas. What is the outlook towards India? And what do they want from India? And what do we want from them? We have to talk. Okay, so till tomorrow evening, have a great time, or till tomorrow morning, have a great time. See you at 9 in the morning. And Jai Hind.